Is there a social media influencer bubble? I've been asking myself this for a little while and wondering if I'm seeing it right or if I'm missing something. And the idea of a bubble and will the bubble pop, which I'll talk about tomorrow, is how to pop the bubble yourself. Is how to pop the bubble. You become 7 Up to the Coca Cola bubble. So, what's going on with social media requires context to understand this bubble. I know it's a bubble now. I've seen the bubble from the inside long enough to know it's a bubble. And what I'm talking about is social media influencer economy. It's this idea of popularity and funnels and persuasion marketing. So those go together. And this is where the bubble is. There's no product underneath because the product is not compelling. If the product is compelling, you don't need popularity and you don't need an influencer marketing funnel. People who have something unique to offer the world, who figured themselves out, who are there, don't need any of that. And what's exciting to me is everyone has this opportunity. Everyone in the world can do this. And this is the idea of the creator economy. The creator economy is not the same thing as a social media influencer economy. I think the confusion is a lot of people see it as the same. And I get that because that's happened to me too, where I spent a couple of years and I couldn't parse these things out. I couldn't understand what was going on. But I went back to my own past to understand it. Instead of knowing these things cerebrally or intellectually, knowing them from experience and observation feels different. And I'd encourage you to think about this in your own life. Where were you? Where were you? What were you doing as this bubble was created? Where were you when influencer marketing, direct response marketing, late night TV advertising became normal? When that became like celebrated as a platform for almost our entire economy? Where were you when all of the sudden it was okay to be famous for being famous without an accomplishment, where that was considered real? That was considered like a job or something to be admired or something to aspire to be. Where were you when these things happened? When all of a sudden this whole world opened up of celebrity influencers. This idea of just being popular is enough because if I'm popular, I'll get what I want: money, attention, recognition, validation, evidence of my worthiness, of my importance, of my legacy. That is not real. It's never been real. Where did it start? I go back to what I know. I don't know the history from reading it. I didn't read the history. I was there for some of this. Think about where were you? Where were you when Michael Jordan, if you're old enough, or just maybe just ask your parents, where were they? Where were they when Michael Jordan became a celebrity globally? And then Nike and Jordan and Gatorade and Jordan came together and said, "Hey, I think we could do something together here." Phil Knight from Nike was brilliant, and they saw it. That was the beginning for me. For me. Now, at the same time, the other thing I noticed was Robin Leach and Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And I remember thinking, these people are idiots. And no, I don't want champagne wishes and caviar dreams and to hang out with you on your yacht. We're still there with that. The confluence of an accomplishment, build it and they will come because you're visible in the world, because you share that experience publicly, reminds me more of Michael Jordan than Paris Hilton Or Kim Kardashian. Where do you put a Grant Cardone? Where do you put a Tony Robbins? Where do you put a Russell Brunson? I put them in the Kim Kardashian camp now, not the Michael Jordan camp, because the accomplishment has nothing to do with what they're selling. They're selling celebrity. So you want to be like them. That's hierarchy. Follow me. I would even put Joe Dispenza there, but there's an accomplishment underneath over all these people. Tony Robbins' accomplishment is tremendous. Joe Dispenza's accomplishment is tremendous. What he did when he had his bicycle accident and figured out how to heal himself. That's incredible what he did. And his books are amazing. And I've done his meditations. But what I see now is celebrity and popularity and riding off of that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it morally. I don't care. But where is the product? Where is the product? There is more of a product with a Joe Dispenza with a Russell Brunson or a Tony Robbins. It's just that it's do it like me product. That's a problem. I don't know how to enter those worlds. I've tried. I can't do it like you. I can do it like me. If I look at who would be more like a Michael Jordan? Michael Singer. If I look at a Michael Singer or a David Hawkins or an Oprah, if I look at Steve Jobs, if I'm thinking about what Deepak Chopra did or Eckhart Tolle, I'm thinking I can enter this. Byron Katie. These people are not as celebrated in our society, but they have depth of product because they did the inner work to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I don't see that from Tony Robbins at all. And I don't see that from Russell Brunson. Now he's talking about Ayn Rand. I don't even think he understands it in context because he hasn't put enough time in yet. But he'll get there if he wants. But that's not what's going on. What's going on is celebrity. They're at the top of the hierarchy and they're saying, be like me and do this thing and you'll succeed. It's not true. It's never been true. That's why it's a bubble. So it's been years since Michael Jordan became a social celebrity, sold shoes and energy drinks and used his accomplishment to profit. I got no problem with that. The world wanted to be like Mike. I didn't. But I'm not saying it's bad you wanted to be like Mike. I was in the audience at the Gatorade National Sales Convention years ago when Michael Jordan came out on stage. The company I work for worked with the CMO of Gatorade to put this together and do all the communications for it. And it's fascinating to watch. And it was like a Russell Brunson rock concert or a Grant Cardone rock concert or a Tony Robbins rock concert. But it was Michael Jordan. There was a real serious accomplishment there. And I'm not saying these others didn't have it. It's just was not, Michael Jordan didn't package it into a Be Like Me program at all. It was, here's who I am. And I remember the flu game with Michael Jordan. And think about it too. Phil Jackson built a system where Michael Jordan recognized for himself. Phil never told him. Michael Jordan recognized for himself. I mean, Phil told him, but he didn't tell him he had to because you can't. You can't tell Michael Jordan what to do. But you can say to him, hey, you want to win? Michael's like, yeah, that's all I want. Or do you want to be important? Do you want to be the celebrity on top of social media mountain today? Both back then it was TV, which is even bigger and globally. And he said, no, I want to win. Well, what do you do? What did he do to win? He didn't take all the shots. He learned to pass. They played the triangle. That's what I'm talking about here. That's product. Focus on your product, not your celebrity and your funnel. That's the bubble. It's going to collapse because it's not real. I don't know when, but it will. Paris Hilton and her more successful follower, Kim Kardashian, mastered the marketing of being famous for being famous. Grant Cardone right now, he's famous for being famous. I can't even figure out what he did. I know it has something to do with real estate and a brilliant business model. And he's one of these tough guys, who was willing to do whatever it takes to succeed. So there's a serious story and accomplishment there, but it's gone. It's years ago. Now he's famous for being famous. So the social media influencers and marketers are promoting and selling what I think of as a circular argument. It's a circular argument. It's be like me and become popular like me, and you'll get what I have, which is influence, celebrity, money, wealth, and maybe an airplane. That's never been true. It's not real. That's the same thing as Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous with Robin Leach. And I don't want to get into politics, but this is when I first came across Donald Trump because he was on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And that's what happens when you inherit a big real estate development company, and how to get known and get popular and promote yourself. I don't want to get into politics. If you're okay with that, you're okay with that. It's not the point. It's not relevant. How do you create an audience and make money on social media? Their followers are buying their programs and selling the methods to other people. I look at Facebook and I'm like, all these banners are the same. How to get to 7 figures, how to get 10 grand a month, how to get leads, how to become an authority, how to find your purpose. It's on and on and on and on and on with the same thing, selling how to be that thing. And I think often it's so circular that the people who are selling it haven't even done it. If your business hasn't been providing consistent income for like 3, 4, 5 years, it's not real yet. It's potentially going to collapse. That's what I've seen this. And the fact that you were in Alex Hormozy's school community and you made 10 grand a month doesn't mean anything. It's a beginning of figuring something out, but what's the product? If the product is how to do that, it's a circular argument and it will collapse at some point because it's not real. Why isn't it real? When the product is about how to succeed in the bubble of the social media economy, the echo chambers create beliefs. So the belief is, if I get this, I can be like them. If I get this, I can be like Alex. Alex is going from 100 million to a billion. I want to get to 10 grand a month. If I can be like Alex and follow his playbook, I'll get there. That blocks real success because that's not how he did it. That's not how he did it. He hired Evan Carmichael to get famous on YouTube. But what's more important was that he did it by being original. That guy's a real serious, real entrepreneur, but that's not what he's teaching. He's not teaching from the context of how to be original because that's not how it works. It's a bubble echo chamber called Hormozy Nation, and it props him up. I don't think he understands. That's why it's going on. It's not malicious. I see a lot of trashing of this on social media now because people know. You can see through this like I can. But many of us can. That's why there's so much negative comments. What's happening is the negative comments are an early warning indicator the bubble's going to collapse. However, I don't see it as a negative trolling opportunity, even though I've done that because I've been so frustrated sometimes with this crazy nonsense, and feeling like people are getting hurt by this now because they think it's going to happen for them and it's real and it's not. And we know the economics of this. The minute something gets this big, it doesn't work anymore, except for the people selling the tool to do it. And that's it. Or people who are great at marketing or great at speaking quickly. Hey, you can do it too like me. Those people are still making some money because, there's a lot of suckers out there, or the people who know copywriting. They can still make money doing this, but it's harder and harder even for them. Look at the desperation of Tony's programs and Russell's program. They're just launching one program after another because they're starting to get desperate. I don't know why. I think they have enough money. But there's something else going on, a feeling of wanting to be relevant, a feeling of wanting to leave a bigger legacy. That's a lack in them that they haven't dealt with. So you don't want to follow anybody. Don't follow me. What I'm offering is how to get back into reality and escape the circus and short the bubble by leaving it behind and blaze your own trail by focusing on product. So my entire philosophy and what I'm brought to the world and built for the world is based on escape from the bubble. And that is to get to the heart of yourself. Don't do it like me. That's our process. The Entrepreneur Experience Campus and all this content that will be out in the market from me soon. It's a disorganized mess right now. There's plenty of it, but it's going to get organized. We're working on that right now. Is a simple way of focusing on your product. Start with product, not the funnel. The funnel is not the company. Russell Brunson says this, the funnel is the company. That's not true. That has never been true, ever in history. Never. Michael Jordan did not start by becoming famous and then got a shoe deal. That's what Kim Kardashian did and Paris Hilton. That's not going to last. Michael Jordan got up every day and learned how to play, as he called it, the game of basketball. Now, I see a lot of this on Instagram. There's people on Instagram that really know what they're doing. And one of the problems they have is they can't cut through. And they're hiring, marketing people like brand builders, or there's others that know how to get them to cut through. But I don't think it works anymore unless you're already famous. I saw Sally Ride, the astronaut, put out a program, come mountain climbing with me and stuff like this, and hired Evan Carmichael's agency on YouTube and blew it up, I think, probably filled up her program because she's Sally Ride. She's already famous. She had an accomplishment. She was an astronaut. That is not going to work if you're not already there in terms of your product. What's the product? It's you. It's the combination of who you are, who it's for, and why it matters. Don't start with the funnel. It's backwards. You're going to make money. Don't worry. You will make money, but you're going to feel prosperous before the money comes. That's how it works. If you look at the stories, They're action adventure movies. Look at Oprah's story. There's a purpose behind it. I started listening to Oprah's podcast, Soul Something, and I'm like, God, this is great. It's so real. It's how it works. I know this because I had the same experience. When you go through your pain, it's no longer painful. It just feels like something. And for me, I look forward to it. I want to get deeper into what is my product. What is my product? It's who I am. It's why I'm here. It's inner directed purpose. I see this from Simon Sinek now. He kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper. It started with the big TED Talk. And to me now, I look at it and I'm like, that's a light version of purpose. That's purpose in the world, to sell a brand, or become a leader in a company. That's great. But now it's deeper for him. I can smell it. That's how much he's evolved, because he kept going. And that's the whole point. Your product is endless because you're endless and unlimited in your potential. This is what Deepak Chopra is talking about. It's unlimited potential. You, me, all of us are a we. We are unlimited potential. And when you open up that potential, you connect with others in a different way. That's how this works. That's how this works. If you do that, everything will change for you, and it will change immediately. That's how fast this works. That does not mean your bank account will fill up because you're manifesting money. That's not the point. That's not the point. That is not what Napoleon Hill was teaching at all. It's what it appears to those who feel a sense of lack around money or relevance or influence or whatever. This comes from the Go-Giver, from Bob Burg. What Bob Burg was saying, these principles, the 5 principles in the Go-Giver, it's the whole thing is right in that book. It's all in that book. The Go-Giver is a very important book for business people. And in that book, this is not about networking reciprocity at all. It's about product. Joe, the hero of that book, the protagonist in the story, found his product which was connection. His ability to sell by not selling led to him elevating to the level of Pindar, the sage who wasn't a sage. There's no such thing as sages. There's just people who found themselves. Pindar did. And then Rachel with her coffee. Rachel made great coffee. It took her years to figure it out. And then all of a sudden, the opportunity came. It came for all of them together. Think about that. When you're with your people in your market, I know because I did this with the Entrepreneur Experience pilot over a year of us, not me, us being together, creating joint products. I have that to offer you. What am I selling? Whatever you need, whatever's right for you. You don't have to pay me. You can pay me. I would appreciate it if you need to. But if you have a great product and you just want a partner or partners, it doesn't have to just be me. We got other people in my group who can partner with you and stand up a product in like a day, an hour. We have the structure for that now. You don't have to pay anything to do that. We're going to make a ton of money doing it. And you get 20% of anybody you bring into it. We have to be honest about that and not have that as a hidden covert affiliate program. It's because it's real. It's fair. Everyone profits together. It's an us. Life is an us. It's about us. That's what the Go-Giver's about. There was an us. It wasn't Pindar saying to Joe, you get to live in this incredible house like me if you become like me. That's what Tony Robbins is doing, and Grant Cardone and all these other people. Lauren Tickner's doing it on Instagram with her funnel. Now she's trying to get big on LinkedIn. Same thing. And it's not. It's the power of the group. That's what the Go-Giver was about. That's what the Go-Giver was about. It's about principles, laws, principles, and mechanisms. Now, Dan Kennedy's got his immutable laws of marketing, and those work. But do you really want to build your life off a late night TV innovator playbook? Is that what you want? You want to sell blue blocker sunglasses? Those aren't great products for the world. It's nice to have a nice pair of sunglasses if you're down in Florida and you're 85 years old and the sun's bright. I think about Ron Popeil, Pocket Fisherman. That's the Dan Kennedy playbook, the Russell Brunson playbook. That's the Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins playbook. Now, back then, I think that was better than therapy. I'm not saying these things are bad. If you sit in a room with Tony Robbins, you'll feel better for 5 minutes and maybe even a year. But it's because you were able to get yourself lifted using his energy. You borrowed his energy from him. You didn't do it yourself. You borrowed it from him to wake yourself up and get off the couch, to figure yourself out after the fire, walking across coals or whatever he's doing with this, genetic thing, cellular level transformation. I've done cellular level transformation. It takes a couple years and it hurts in a good way. You don't do that with 1,000 of your best friends in an auditorium in New York. It's impossible. It's the opposite of what works, what he's selling. That's why I know it's marketing and a bubble marketing. If I'm going to escape from the circus and short this bubble, the way I'm doing it is to do it and to talk about my experience and share this truth that I've experienced. I'm not saying I know the truth about the bubble and the influencer economy. I haven't studied it. I've experienced it by trying to do it over a couple of years. I took Russell Brunson's course in summer of 2020. I'd never heard of him, and it didn't work at all. And there were some things in the program where I thought this just plain isn't true. Like there was one where it's like the recommendation was to call a corporate executive and get a meeting and get feedback. I think it was on your product. I don't remember now actually, but all I remember is you don't call a VP of promotion or VP of marketing or VP of retail distribution in a corporation and get them on the phone as a total newbie to get help or to sell them anything. I've been cold calling into these places for years. They don't just pick up the phone and talk to anybody. They have all kinds of layers of protection. So I read that book and I'm like, I wonder if the person who wrote this ever did it. Or maybe they did it 40 years ago when it was possible. I think that as things change quicker and quicker and faster, the more this bubble is likely to pop because whatever they figured out gets out in the world so fast now that it stops working almost immediately. Now I saw Jeff Walker with his product launch formula coming back, and I'm like, that is never going to work. But the concept of rolling out a movie from Hollywood out into the marketplace, that will work. I'm doing that. I have never followed his product launch formula. I tried and I'm like, this makes no sense. Sending these emails to people. I mean, how many emails do you get from these kinds of people trying to fill up their programs? Um, it doesn't work anymore. And what does work mean? Work means your product matters for you, feels great, you feel prosperous, you build it inside the market so you have a permanent solution because of product market fit. And then you're flexing with the market as an group of equals. So there's no more stage and audience. And when I saw Joe Polish with Genius Network, I was like, that story's great. The therapy or the 12, I was in 12-step programs from when I was 17 years old, 17 to 24. I'm not anymore, but I was. And that's what he's done. He's integrated entrepreneurship and marketing in 12-step programs. And for some people that are beginners at this inner stuff, it's useful. So I'm not saying it's bad. However, I'm in his funnel. He's marketing the hell out of me to get me to pay to come down to the Genius Network thing he's launched. And I'm like, no way am I doing that. And I'm like, You know why? Because it's a stage and an audience." So he had Les Brown up on stage, and Les Brown's amazing, real deal. So's Joe. But why is there a stage and an audience? I don't think the stage and the audience is what's next. I think that's what's going away. It's part of the bubble. That's called a hierarchy. How do I find myself? Get out of the stage and the audience relationship. You don't need to be in the audience. Get on the stage. You don't have to do anything to get on the stage except be yourself and share your experience. You shouldn't have to pay your dues to get on the stage because the stage should be a circle. Our stages are circles. You don't have to do anything to get on the stage with us. You don't have to pay me 150 grand to be in the private inner sanctum. That's old thinking. That's hierarchical. That is not how to evolve an individual, yourself, or society. Don't copy me. Don't be like me. Don't go for what I've had. Don't repeat my success. Find your own. What is that? I have no idea. You already have everything you need to succeed. This is what Les Brown's talking about. But then he's up on the stage because that's how Genius Network works. And then they're using the marketing persuasion playbook because you're like, oh, I want to be with those famous people and learn from them in the inner circle room. And then I can network and get clients. And then, oh, by the way, I can use the 12-step methods to feel better and not be such a driven entrepreneur and have a family. It's like, it's old thinking because there's a hierarchy. Les Brown doesn't know more than me. Joe Polish doesn't know more than me. And they don't know more than you because all you need to know is you, your experience. When you realize that, now you're equal in the circle. I've been freed from hierarchy my whole life because I couldn't fit in it. I didn't want to. And every once in a while I'd try, but it's not what I wanted. It's all about being an equal. It's about being connected with other people. It's about being yourself. It's about finding your own way forward. That's what this is all about. And at some point, this social media bubble and influencer economy is going to pop because things that aren't real have a funny way of going the emperor has no clothes route.